The plant I'm about to tell you about feeds more than 2 billion people every single year, grows in nearly any soil without complaining, and is sitting in nurseries right now that will sell it to you without a single word of warning about what you are actually buying. In 17 states and dozens of cities, putting this in the ground without containment is already illegal. In some neighborhoods, it has eaten fences, cracked foundations, and turned a pleasant backyard into a wildlife corridor that snakes moved into and never left. And here's the part nobody at the garden center is going to say out loud. The snake problem is not the plant's fault. It is the grower's mistake, and it is completely avoidable once you know the one thing that makes all the difference. That plant is bamboo. Now, before you close this out, stay with me, because what I am about to show you is the exact difference between the gardeners who have been fighting bamboo for 10 years and the ones who grew it into the most beautiful, productive, and genuinely low-maintenance corner of their entire yard. The mistake that invites snakes is one specific thing, and once you see it, you will never make it. Bamboo shoots have been harvested for food for thousands of years across Asia. And when you understand that some varieties grow nearly 3 feet in a single day, you begin to understand why 2 billion people have built their diets and their economies around this plant. The shoots come up in spring, tender and mild, and when you prepare them correctly, they taste like nothing else you can grow. I boil mine, slice them thin, and use them the way my neighbor from Guangdong showed me 30 years ago. She never used a recipe. She just knew. Here is the first thing the nursery will not tell you. There are 2 completely different families of bamboo, and they behave nothing alike. Clumping bamboo stays where you put it. It expands slowly outward from the center, maybe a few inches a year, and after 10 years, you still have a beautiful contained grove that fills a corner without taking over the yard. Running bamboo does the exact opposite. It sends underground runners, called rhizomes, laterally through the soil, sometimes 20 feet from the parent plant, and it will come up through lawn, under patios, between foundation stones, and eventually into the neighbor's yard. That is the variety behind the lawsuits, the ordinances, and the neighborhoods where bamboo has been declared a public nuisance. If your nursery is selling running bamboo without explaining this distinction, sweetheart, they are doing you a very quiet disservice. I learned this one the hard way. I planted a variety called golden bamboo along a back fence in my second house, thinking I had found the perfect privacy screen. Within 4 years, it had crossed under the fence and was coming up in my neighbor's vegetable bed. She did not find it charming. I spent the better part of 2 summers digging rhizomes and still found new shoots the 3rd spring. The sign at the garden center said, "Privacy screen," and left the rest entirely to your imagination. The snake connection is exactly what you think it is. Running bamboo, left uncontained, builds a dense thicket at the base, fallen canes, leaf litter 2 feet deep, cool and dark and perfectly suited to anything that hunts in shadows. Mice move in for the cover. Snakes follow the mice. If you have ever walked behind an old bamboo hedge and felt that particular prickle on the back of your neck, you already know what I am describing. This is not bamboo being dangerous. This is an environment built entirely by neglect, and it is completely preventable. Here's what you actually do. If you want running bamboo, and there are real reasons you might, because some of the most productive edible varieties are runners, you install a rhizome barrier before you plant. Not after. Before. It is a high-density polyethylene sheeting, at least 40 mils thick, sunk at least 24 to 30 inches into the ground, with 2 to 3 inches left above the surface, so you can see if a runner is trying to escape over the top. Check it twice a year, once in early spring and once in midsummer. Any runner that has crested the barrier, cut it clean. That is the entire management task. 20 minutes twice a year. And it turns a plant that has broken up marriages into one that earns its place completely. This is actually what I had in mind when I put together the Lazy Garden blueprint. Not just knowing what to grow, but understanding the one decision that changes everything about how a plant behaves in your specific yard. A 30-day system built around layers that do the work for you is on screen if you want it, but the single most important seasonal mistake is still coming, and it is the reason most bamboo groves come back thin and weak after their first hard winter. Clumping bamboo needs almost none of this containment work. The varieties I trust most are the Fargesia types, cold hardy, dense, beautiful year-round, and they produce shoots that are genuinely worth eating. They'll not run under your fence. They will not crack your patio. They grow to 10 or 12 feet with no help, come back harder every spring, and ask almost nothing from you once they are established. If a plant needs too much fussing, it is not invited back into my garden, and Fargesia has never once given me a reason to uninvite it. For the shoots themselves, the harvesting rule is simple, and most people miss it entirely. Harvest when they are still below knee height. Once a shoot crosses 18 inches, the texture starts shifting and the bitterness climbs fast. You will know the right ones. They push through the soil tight and pointed, and you feel a slight resistance when you snap them at the base. Steam or boil them first, drain the water, and you have removed most of the natural compounds that make raw bamboo sharp and bitter. Some running varieties need 2 rounds of boiling. None of this is complicated once you know which variety you're working with, and it is the kind of thing your grandmother knew and nobody teaches anymore. Now here's the winter mistake, and this is the one that I see good gardeners make every single fall. People cut bamboo back when the weather cools, thinking they are tidying up for the season. Do not do it. Bamboo stores its energy for the following spring in the canes themselves, and cutting them down before the plant has fully hardened off is exactly why so many groves come back weak and sparse. Leave the canes standing all the way through winter. In early spring, before anything wakes up, clear the leaf litter from the base. That one step removes the hiding habitat before anything moves in to use it. Then look at each cane. Green canes bend, dead canes snap. Cut back only the ones that snap. That is the whole inspection, and it takes no time at all once you know what you're looking for. One question before we go, and I genuinely want to know this one, because the answer changes every piece of advice that follows. Do you know which type of bamboo you have? Clumping or running? because I see gardeners every season buy unlabeled nursery stock and spend years wondering why their yard is behaving the way it is. Drop it in the comments. Someone in a colder zone is reading this right now and trying to figure out the same thing. And your real experience helps them more than anything I can say. Knowing the plant is one thing. Knowing which variety, how to contain it, when to harvest, how to keep the base clear so you're not building a home for things you did not invite. That is the conversation the Lazy Garden Blueprint was built around. I built it because I kept watching people plant beautiful things in ways that caused them real problems. And the fixes were never as complicated as the problems turned out to be. 30 days, the right layers in the right order, the right decisions made before the shovel goes in. It costs something, because putting it together took real time. The link is on screen. The difference between bamboo that feeds you, screens your yard, and looks extraordinary from February through December, and bamboo that cracks your patio and calls every snake in the county, is not the plant. It is the 10 minutes of information before you dig the hole. You just had those 10 minutes. Now go find out what is in your yard before it finds you first.